The night didn't just feel important, it felt inevitable. Like something long building beneath the surface had finally reached its breaking point. The air itself carried tension, thick with anticipation, history, and a quiet understanding that what was about to unfold would leave a mark far beyond the ring. When Inoue stepped through the ropes, he wasn't just entering another bout. He was stepping into a clash with legacy itself. Across from him stood Donaire, a name forged in fire, a fighter whose greatness had already been written into the sport long before Inoue began carving out his own path. This was never meant to be simple. It was never meant to be routine. But no one could have imagined just how savage, how punishing, and how deeply personal this battle would become. Donaire didn't come to play a supporting role. He arrived like a storm that refused to pass quietly. A veteran of countless wars, a man who had faced the best and survived them all. His left hand wasn't just a punch, it was a warning, a weapon that had ended nights in an instant. Behind it stood years of experience, a mind sharpened by pressure, a fighter who understood timing and danger on a level few ever reach. For Inoue, this was unfamiliar territory. He had built his dominance on overwhelming force, speed, precision, and raw power that left opponents broken. They called him the monster because no one could stand in front of him for long. But this time, there was a different energy. A quiet realization that this fight would not follow the same script. From the very first moments, that realization became undeniable. There was no hesitation, no cautious feeling out process. Both fighters stood their ground and made their intentions clear. Donaire's punches were sharp, calculated, and purposeful. Inoue answered with explosive combinations, but for the first time in a long time. He wasn't the one fully in control. Then everything changed. A perfectly timed shot from Donaire crashed through, disrupting Inoue's rhythm in an instant. It wasn't just the impact, it was what it represented. The monster could be hurt. The unstoppable could be shaken. And just like that, the fight shifted from dominance to survival. Blood began to tell the story. Inoue's face carried the evidence of every exchange: of fractured orbital bone, a broken nose, damage that would have forced most fighters to retreat. But retreat was never who he was. Instead, something deeper surfaced. This was no longer about technique or perfection. It became a question of will, of how much punishment a man could endure and still keep moving forward, of belief when everything starts to fall apart. Do you still trust yourself to rise? Donaire pressed on relentlessly. Round after round, he dragged Inoue into deeper waters, into a place where experience mattered more than speed. He controlled moments, exploited openings, and refused to be overwhelmed. He wasn't there to survive, he came to take everything. And for a while, it looked like he might, but true greatness doesn't reveal itself in easy victories. It shows itself when everything is at risk. Slowly, Inoue began to change. The chaos that once threatened to consume him started to take shape. His movements became more deliberate, his attacks more calculated. He didn't regain his old rhythm, he built a new one, forged in adversity. Every step forward came with pain. Every exchange left damage. But little by little, the momentum began to turn. The monster hadn't disappeared. It had evolved. Inoue started to reclaim control. His body shots dug deeper. His combinations found their mark with growing precision. The damage he had taken was undeniable, but so was his refusal to be defined by it. By the final rounds, the fight had become something rare. Not just a contest of skill, but a test of spirit. Two warriors from different eras, pushing each other beyond their limits, bound by the same unbreakable will. When the final bell rang, both had given everything. Inoue's hand was raised, but there was nothing easy about the victory. His injuries told the real story. This wasn't dominance, it was survival. It was resilience. Proof that even monsters bleed and still stand. But battles like this don't end with a result. They demand something more. The rematch carried none of the uncertainty of the first. There were no questions inside the ring.